The Rock explains his WrestleMania absence and teases some future Cody Rhodes plans. Plus, another WWE star is out of action, and we had returns and a title change on last night's NXT. It's all in the Cultaholic Wrestling News right now. Ironic that as John Cena raised his 17th WWE title, the one person that we didn't see was The Rock. Where was The Rock?
Where was he?
Where was The Rock?
What are you not doing here?
What are you not doing here? Exactly.
See, it's your thing.
Well, no,
spin on it.
No, I liked how you did it. He's definitely not under there.
He's not.
He did appear on the Pat Mcafee Show yesterday, and did he have a lot to say? We will get into why he wasn't there. But Fraser, take us back to how he got involved in the WrestleMania build in the first place.
Cast your mind back to Elimination Chamber. Way back in February, start of March, it was around then. He starts teasing ahead of that he's going to be there. He's going to be at the show. He wants Cody Rhodes' soul. This came out of nowhere, and The Rock was talking about it. He says it was all down to ticket sales for Elimination Chamber. He says, I got a call about a month before Elimination Chamber from Ari Emanuel. He said, we need help at Elimination Chamber. Ticket sales are a little slow. How do we create an Elimination Chamber that people must tune in to see? Will the final boss show up? Obviously he did. From here, The Rock gave some thoughts about the storyline and called Ari back along with Triple H and Nick Khan and said, I have an idea. The most important thing to the final boss isn't money, titles, fame. Been there, done that, and grateful for that. The final boss wants your soul. What that means is whatever dreams Cody Rhodes has, whatever ambitions, you tell the final boss and he makes it all happen. What does the final boss get out of that? Your soul for life.
The Rock goes on to explain that initially this whole story was going to be, in his head, a chance to turn Cody Rhodes heel. He said it was a litmus test to find out how the fans would respond if Cody sold his soul to the final boss. I was an advocate of that. You give him a reason to turn, not based on titles, but it's his soul and what that means. And that affects generations. Now, closer to Elimination Chamber, Triple H stepped in and said, why not John Cena turn heel instead of Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, he's going, hey Rock, see, Cody's like really popular and selling lots of tickets and making us lots of money, and Cody is like the ultimate babyface character. Why would we turn him heel? It is like, it's kind of like way back in the day of like everyone wanting a Cena heel turn, and then Vince stepping in and going, no, he's making too much money. We can't turn him.
The lady is not for turning.
Why would you turn Cody here? So it makes sense for Triple H to suggest something else in the form of John Cena.
Rock goes on to say that John loved the idea of turning heel. He said there's an anchor that he was going to root it in, which is a real thing he's experienced over the past 25 years. And I will say this, John Cena's heel turn has actually, away from the quality of the WrestleMania main event and all that goes in there, what John Cena is as a heel is perfect. He no longer panders to the crowd, no longer does anything that kind of acknowledges the audience. He's very much a guy who is literally counting down the days till he leaves his job, which is a very relatable thing
relatable for
many people. And very much his mentality of that is he's
quiet quitting. He is quiet quitting.
He's quiet quitting.
He's turning up to work and going, I just can't be arsed. You're going to watch me not be arsed.
Yeah.
And it's great to see in some elements of it, but at the same time, it does feel like they went, here's a massive moment. That's it. We've got nothing after that. We're making this up as we go along, and it just feels a little bit strange. And I think that was really highlighted by the fact that The Rock just wasn't at WrestleMania.
But Fraser Porter, why was he not at WrestleMania?
Well, he says that he just felt he shouldn't be part of the story following Elimination Chamber, despite being the actual catalyst and the thing that caused the turn, like the whole, anyway, he said, I made the call, let the final boss step back into the shadows, let all the spotlight go to John and Cody. That's fine, Rock, but you did it in a really bad way. He continues saying that he never expected or pushed for him to be involved at WrestleMania, saying there were other commitments that I have and I want to be careful that we're not overstepping. I can get involved in the finish, but why get involved in the finish when the spotlight should just be on John? What does 2025 look like if the man is saying he's going to ruin pro wrestling? That, to me, is the anchoring story. Why get involved in the finish? You started it.
Because you started it. And I think that's the thing that people are blown away by. So all of the reason that we had all this confusion on the road to WrestleMania was because Ari Emanuel rang The Rock and went, "Hi mate, yeah, we're not selling many tickets for Elimination Chamber at our ludicrously inflated prices. Any chance you could pop by?" And The Rock went, "Yeah, hang on a second. I'm just going to paint a massive Rembrandt for this one-off appearance."
Right. He had a custom belt with Cody's soul on it. He had a whole gear made just for Elimination Chamber, and then he decides, you know what? I'm staying in Hawaii. Now, we know that there's Moana reshoots, or there's reportedly Moana reshoots, that the commitments he is talking about, and that kept him away from WrestleMania. But at the same time, he's a shareholder, he's on the board of directors, he should have been there when he started the storyline.
Now, Rock gave his thoughts on the match and the future for both guys going forward, and he said, "I loved the finish of the match. I would have finessed things a little differently on how they got there, but that's just me creatively." He alluded to the Travis Scott element of the match not being necessary. He said, "I was surprised to see Travis Scott as well. And the moment I saw Travis, it immediately amplified. Here comes the final boss." I agree. I was at home watching. This is where The Rock comes out.
Here comes The Rock. Obviously, he's the harbinger of The Rock.
Yeah, here comes the guy that started the story to continue the story.
Continue it.
Rock goes on to say, "I love John Cena, heel champion, the GOAT. Says he's going to ruin wrestling. Some parts of it I would have just adjusted," which is a wonderful, which is up there with writing per my last email.
He's like,
it really is wonderfully passag in the workplace.
It's like, oh yeah, we'll put it on the fridge. We'll put it on the fridge.
We'll put it on the fridge.
Good job. We'll put that one on the fridge. Trips.
Well done, Paul.
Well done. Good effort, son. Good effort.
He finishes off saying, "Ultimately, the bottom line is I love John getting 17. Never had a concern about John pulling this off. My thoughts were always to Cody and what we have established with him and his story and the kind of babyface that he is. If done right and finessed right and nuanced right, down the road, that guy not only has an incredible run against as babyface champion, but also an unheard of run as a heel down the road."
Spoilers, Rock. What are you doing, man? You're spoiling the show. Like, no, I mean, he kind of has revealed the sort of game plan of Cody. Now, granted, the game plan seems to be changing all the time because The Rock decides, you know what, I'm in town, I'm going to make an appearance and do a stupid wee hand signal.
Or Ari Emanuel comes in and goes, "Can you just pop by?" Like, "Yeah, let me just come up with something dead complicated for you to write your way out of."
It is so strange, and he's saying that there was no pushback or push for him to be involved at WrestleMania. Why didn't Triple H and Ari Emanuel go, "Hey, can you be at WrestleMania?" I don't understand that. It also makes it very abundantly clear that they really tried to remove him from the storyline immediately. There was no mentions of The Rock for weeks on Raw in any of the promos between Cody and Cena. There was reports from the Wrestling Observer, from Fightful, from all sorts of outlets being like, something's going on. Like, The Rock isn't being mentioned for a reason. And loads of people called them out and said that was BS. It looks like the reports were legit.
That's the thing that's come from this, is that what The Rock has said in this kind of lines up with reports from Fightful and reports from The Observer, which The Rock and...
that there was no plan.
Yeah, which Rock and Brian Gewirtz both shot down as rubbish.
Exactly.
So, you know what, what I've realised is that those lightning effects that The Rock has in his entrance is actually the finest bit of gaslighting I've ever seen in wrestling.
Gaslighting. He's a gaslighter.
The people's gaslighter. So you can full transcription of that available at Cultaholic.com. Our thanks to Cultaholic Tribal Editor-in-Chief Aidan Gibbons, who put that together whilst furiously banging his head off the desk at the same time.
Yeah, he did.
Other news, another SmackDown star down.
Another Bloodline member.
Another Bloodline member as well, for lack for one to do as well. What's happened?
So PW Nexus reports that Tama Tonga is set to miss some time due to injury, and he will require surgery. He joins Tonga Loa on the injury bench. It sucks to see any injury, of course. I don't feel like I don't want to say he will be missed. He won't be missed, but he's not in that featured prominent spot like you alluded to with Kevin Owens there, with another injured SmackDown star. It feels very much like they can rotate him in and out of storylines just now.
It's Bloodline in a real bad way. When you think about a year and a bit ago, how the Bloodline was like the center stage of it's really gone the way
for 4 years.
Yeah.
For 4 years, it was the center stage of the company.
It's really gone DX 1999, hasn't it?
Yeah.
When it was just like Road Dogg and X-Pac for a
Bloodline
bit.
2000, and that's the team name now.
Oh, that's how you get around it. Speaking of stars taking some time away, have we written off a member of the D'Angelo family on NXT?
It seems that way. It seems like with the cut to black, there's been a murder. There's been a murder in NXT. Last night on NXT, we saw Stax meet up with fellow D'Angelo family member Luca Crucifino. This was alluded to at Stand and Deliver. They meet out in the desert, and they sort of tease something you've put down on our notes here, Soprano-esque.
It was very Soprano-esque.
In what? I mean, I've not seen The Sopranos.
Okay, in the finish where he's like, "Why do you think I brought you here?" And then Luca kind of goes, "Oh, you're complete go to black."
Yeah.
The Sopranos ends with
spoilers.
If you haven't seen Sopranos, spoilers.
It ended in
ahoy.
2007.
Spoilers ahoy! We don't see Tony Soprano get whacked, but it's playing Journey Don't Stop Believing, and then somebody comes into the cafe and he looks up, and as he looks up, it fades to black. We don't see anything. So that was very Sopranos-esque.
So he might have been,
It's implied that he was whacked, and also maybe Luca might have got a good whacking off.
He was waxed off in the desert with no one around.
Hey, there's worse ways to go.
Yeah.
Also on NXT last night, WrestleMania star Joe Hendry returned.
He was back on NXT. This feels like a massive week for this guy.
Massive week.
It's been a massive year for Joe, but this is making an appearance on NXT. It's always great to see. He got to square off or stand off against NXT champion Obafemi and Trick Williams, and it looks like they're positioning Joe Hendry for an NXT title match. I think he might win it.
Do you?
I think strike while the iron is hotter than it even was last year, which is ridiculous to say. If you put that title on Joe Hendry and you've got him dual champion across NXT and TNA, that is a lot of marketability right there.
I wonder whether you do another triple threat where you do Trick, Oba, and Joe pins Trick to keep Oba strong.
I'm happy with that still. Yeah, I do think that whatever this is setting up, Joe is leaving with that NXT title.
Whoa! I tell you what, it was a big night for Scotland and titles. Not only Joe Hendry turning up, but a big return. Penn and Teller returning the Heritage Cup to Lexis King after they made it disappear at Stand and Deliver. But on the proviso that he defends it against a mystery opponent. Who was that mystery opponent, Fraser?
Bloody Noam Dar.
Noam Dar.
It's your cousin
Noam Dar.
It is up the road in Glasgow or Ayrshire. They're all from Ayrshire.
All Ayrshire.
Last night, obviously he's been out for a year with an injury. He made his return and beat Lexis King for the NXT Heritage Cup. He's had it a lot of times.
Yeah, and he did it with the Judas effect. Let's not hide away from that.
Back elbow.
It was the Judas effect. He's doing the Judas effect now.
The Glasgow elbow. That's what it's called.
Is there nowhere in Scotland that begins with J?
Probably Jedburgh.
The Jedburgh effect. There you go.
Jedburgh effect.
The Jedburgh effect. Jedburgh in my mind.
Shout out to Jedburgh.
If you live in Jedburgh, let us know in the comments below. I do wonder whether the Heritage Cup has a somewhat limited time now, because unless Noam Dar redresses it, Lexis King went just normal rules for this cup now.
It's not needed. I don't think it's needed. It's cool to have, but it's really not needed.
You've literally taken all the heritage out of the Heritage Cup. Yeah. It is just the NXT Cup.
I thought that was what they were doing with Penn and Teller. I thought they were going to write it off.
Yeah.
It's disappeared into the ether.
That's it. Or come back as a belt.
Or come back. If it disappears, and then in the box that they had, instead of it being Teller, it's Noam Dar, and he just starts beating out.
That'd have been great.
Just starts beating on him. Beating him.
A lot of people getting beaten off on NXT this week. It was quite the show.
Yeah. Yep.
Hot and heavy. For the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out Cultaholic.com. Stay safe and don't get beat off in the desert.
Words to live by.